Yeah, I really
the
was.
other games.
Yeah.
Who is better on Anish's game?
Yeah, we don't know. Let me just go. I'll go with you around the
Many
table.
complicated games. Also, how fun if probably a draw. I mean, if black takes on f4, then it's a perpetual right away.
Right.
Maybe black white can go for the bishop ending.
This is Livonaronian Vasile.
Equal.
Equal, just so equal. Okay. I thought white was doing well. This is your game.
Equal if not for the bishop on c1.
Now this is this game, 4 bishops ending. Okay, from the Grunfeld, right?
Yeah, it's typical on this line.
Exactly.
So black has compensation.
Yes.
Who do you think black holds or? Well,
hard to say.
One thing black can go for this move, yeah.
Right.
But maybe it's not such a good idea.
It's not the most enjoyable way of spending an afternoon, right?
The
pawn down against.
Prefer to avoid, but can black do something else?
Yes, of course. The key. I got to get the mouse.
A3,
the key question is
bishop
A3,
B3,
bishop B3, bishop
A2,
bishop A2. So.
And
Now, can you do anything though? It's like a kind of a fortress, right? So let's say I go here.
King f2, king comes to h4.
Oh, you want to just bring your king to h4?
King g3, bishop d6. Well, the bishop on a2 is very stable.
Yeah, it is. Indeed, it is.
But maybe here, let's say a3, bishop b3. Maybe right away bishop c1 to attack this pawn.
That forces the bishop.
And what
to
happens
make it
if I give a check?
Back.
Bishop e6 takes. But I can take a3 maybe. I'm glad I don't have blacks.
That was the point. That it was Magnus was the one having the fun.
Black can also go bishop d7 just to force g5.
Why does it force g5? Pardon me. If I go king f2.
Because a3 then.
A3 now and that
now
point, and then it's the
lose.
different thing. Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. So g5.
Might have to go g5, but it's still unpleasant defending. I mean, you can go a3, bishop b3. Let's say here.
A4, bishop a2,
bishop c1, bishop d6. Still not very simple. But again, the bishop on a2 is very stable.
Right.
And if I go here, bishop d6. Well, one question here is is white winning in this position? Takes bishop d5. Maybe this is the draw. I'm not.
Yeah, first impression is no.
But still,
white
unpleasant defending. h4, h5. And you cannot play h5 because of bishop d7. Maybe some chance.
I'm afraid I might get Zugzwang. Yeah, you can trick me with your king getting to h4 and the bishop going to e8, right?
He played bishop c1 and bishop d6.
Those moves have been played? Very cool. No.
Now one interesting try maybe takes.
Okay.
Bishop d7. Again, with the idea to play a3.
So I have to play f5. I'm a little
F5,
bit worried
H5.
of h5, right?
Then it's a draw right away.
Then it's a draw, yeah.
So I have to go g5.
Okay.
But here a3, bishop b3. This looks very good for black, yeah? Bishop f5, bishop
a2.
threatening bishop b1, bishop a2, and then some
h6 or
takes, king g6. And this seems to be a draw.
Yeah.
Or let's say king f2 takes. Looks like a draw.
Exactly.
So maybe Maxim can.
So we have seen, by the way, your what you just looked at, f takes g4, h takes g4 has been played.
Or you can also go this way, maybe.
It seems that white needed his king on g3 to really have something serious, yeah?
But maybe he should have started king f2.
Right, like g4 might have been just a little bit,
a bit
premature.
Too early.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe he was worried of some h5.
and then a blockade.
And then trying to play h4 and
Yeah.
then bishop d3 e4 one day, maybe.
Exactly.
Anyway, maybe it's go.
Show us your game, Wesley. First of all, congratulations. I'm
Thank
getting,
you. Well, not
it
two more games.
seemed, it seemed that
It seems complicated because here he went queen d7. I'm not sure about
Right.
this move. I mean, I have some. Usual move here is of course h6.
right, the Karpov's
But here,
line.
I mean, I didn't know about this move. It gave me some options of knight g5, early knight g5 ideas, or
Right.
e5 and knight g5, or knight
Mhm.
e4 looks tempting. So I spent a lot of time. Maybe
So your first impression was maybe Queen D7 was.
I'm not sure.
No, me either. It smelled wrong to me. It
Yeah.
looked like it looked a little bit.
Why does many possibilities? You can see. This knight g5 ideas look very tempting,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, even simple moves like bishop c2, bishop b1, or maybe d5.
So what is the do you know what the do you understand what the advantage is for black to have the move Queen D7 versus H6?
Well,
Like I can imagine H6 is very useful.
Queen d7 connects both rooks, and I guess
Okay.
in some cases he can go knight d8 to defend the f7 pawn. That's what happened in the game.
Okay.
And well, it's a developing move.
And it's okay. Fair enough. You went through the okay. You added it all.
What else is there? Maybe he has some ideas of knight b4 and c5 one day.
Okay.
But,
Because then sometimes the knight
course,
the pawn on the knight on D7 sometimes knight on F6 goes to D7. But
So
all right, let's
I have been analyzing recently some Kasparov games from
yes
my book.
yes
Remember the chapter called Thunder and Lightning? Or something?
yes that was from the Five Crowns
And
book. Yeah,
it was the Kasparov games.
right.
Went of course like this. I mean, everybody knows. And here maybe c4 is the black's best move. But
Yeah,
f5, and then
yeah.
crazy lines like this.
Kaboom! It
Uh-huh.
was beautiful game, huh?
Well, the game was almost 25 years ago, or 25 years ago.
1990, Lyon, New York.
1990.
Yeah, beautiful match.
But so he surprised me with Queen D7.
Okay.
I don't know, take Queen D7. So here, I'm not sure. I thought I was looking at some lines with Knight G5. And also, here one thing I was looking at, that's why the reason I took on B5 is to trade the rooks, because I was looking at some lines like this, Knight G5, Rook E7, E5, and then many complications, Knight F7,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to take my knight, takes, and I'm threatening E6 besides taking his knight. So he has to take E5, Rook E5, and here I was kind of worried about Bishop D6. For example, after here, it seems that, I mean, white is on exchange up, but his bishop on B7 is very strong, and after, for example, a normal move like Rook F8 might get kind of dangerous with his bishop on B7.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to. That's why I took on B5, because in this case, if the
Rooks are off. The
trading.
compensation just went
Yeah.
down a big notch.
but here I'm not sure.
Okay.
Looks kind of dangerous. So that's why I took on B5 first.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I was expecting he would go Rook E7, and then some complications like E5 take,
Mm-hmm.
Knight F7, Rook F7 takes. Here's what I was analyzing, and then now defense Bishop D5.
Right. All looks very logical.
But I
There's a flow.
calculated Rook takes Bishop, and then Knight F3,
Okay.
and then he goes C6, Knight
Clear.
E5, Queen F5 takes.
Takes.
And I saw something like this, and I thought white is better because of the bishop pair.
Right. And
Because, for example, now I'm threatening Queen C8.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if G6 Queen C8 looks kind of unpleasant for him.
Exactly.
So I thought white is better here, but I'm not.
Better is correct. Winning is still a long way away from winning. Better for sure. Nice.
Well, yeah, I cannot be winning.
Yeah.
But
But at least you have what Jan Timman describes as the sunny side of the torture.
yeah, I thought
But
yeah.
somehow his knight d8 was also very logical because
yeah, very logical.
Yeah, rook on e7 is a little bit funny, but knight d8, okay, his
But-
bishop's in the game.
But at the same time, when he's compared to the rook e7, he cannot take on e5 because his knight is more passive.
Right.
So I thought, I wasn't
Okay,
sure.
you're grabbing space.
Knight d3 looked very logical to me. I mean, maybe this move too. And then take some ideas like knight h7. I'm not sure if it works. Or what was I thinking here? I was looking at something. Some moves like queen d3.
Okay.
Threatening to give a nasty check. And then he has to go f5.
Correct.
And then probably it doesn't work for white. So that's why I didn't go.
I was looking at some
idea. Something like this takes. Maybe since his knight is pinned, maybe rook e4 with ideas of
e6,
or let's say queen takes e4, g6.
Well, g6, e6,
e6,
nice.
but it probably doesn't work. White is a piece down, and queen d6, maybe bishop f4, and if it takes on f4, e7.
E7 is a check. Oh, it's not a check.
It's a check. You mean take here?
Yes.
Takes, check. You have bishop d5.
Exactly.
Well, if you take here, so maybe it doesn't work. Rook d1, c6.
But such piece sacrifices are very tempting, aren't they? You know, and all black's pieces are
maybe some ideas
are on the back row.
Maybe not enough. Ask Gary.
You get him on the line.
But I think I like knight d3.
I like this very much.
Solid. So
okay.
I thought h6 was normal.
Right. Well, he's got to get rid of the guy.
I mean, he can go here, but probably white is better after rook e6, knight g5. Or if he takes with the pawn, then white should be better. Let's say some move like bishop c2.
Just lining up for a battery, yeah?
White is
slightly h4, h5.
Slightly better. For example, if here, maybe this works, I'm not sure. Check. G, h5, g6, check, bishop g7. And then some check on h7. Looks very good. Or maybe rook e3.
Yeah, just the rook coming over is also nice. No?
Okay, yeah, maybe this will... yeah, this looks very tempting.
Yes.
But if we played h6, I was actually expecting bishop e7, simple move. Because I'm turning, obviously, to take on h6.
Right.
For example, knight e6 is bad. I think we have bishop h6. And the simple point being that knight f4 should be better for white. Maybe take knight g5.
Well, that's a pawn and...
I thought he would go bishop e7, and I didn't see anything concrete for white. I have many interesting possibilities. One move is knight h2, with the idea to play queen h5 or knight g4.
In the style of Kasparov? Knight h2.
Or another idea, maybe knight g3, although it's slower, just trying to maybe one day set up a battery with queen d3 and bishop c2. One thing that he couldn't play here is a breaking
very
move like
desirable.
c5,
Very desirable move,
he managed
c5.
to block my bishop. But
it would be brilliant. Yeah.
Fortunately, it doesn't work on both lines because of c5 takes, and then I take here. And then if he takes back, then queen d3.
Okay.
Threatening mate. So I play g6, and after rook d1, everything is pinned.
Nasty.
And also, like in the game, when he played here, he also cannot play c5, unfortunately for him, because I take. And then knight d6, bishop d6, bishop d5. And if bishop on a8 is undefended.
Right.
So if
nice reason for playing rook a8.
If the bishop was on b7, would have been fine.
Black would be fine. He would move his bishop to f8 back.
But he thought for a very long time he went knight b4, which makes sense because now I don't have any options of playing bishop c2 because it
or queen d3, yeah.
And I thought bishop d2 works, but unfortunately he has knight d3. And he
knight c4 blocking, yeah.
Yeah, and takes knight c4, and didn't see anything. Or also after, maybe he was thinking bishop h6, but I also didn't see anything for white. H6, and somehow he manages to defend. Didn't see anything here. Maybe knight g5, but he can block my bishop with d5. And let's say, that probably doesn't work. So I went. I just thought that the knight on b4 was too strong, so I tried to push it away. But actually, queen d2 doesn't threaten anything because even if I take his knight next move, he can take on e4, and after rook e4 there is d5.
He's not losing a piece, so it doesn't. But the problem for him is also this move queen d2. Even though it looks a little artificial,
it is artificial.
If the knight goes,
the bishop on c1.
your queen can end up going on kingside
F4.
very nicely to g3.
That's what
so
I was hoping for. So if knight c6, maybe queen f4.
Yeah, and it's everybody is going after his king, and it's not so pleasant for black anymore. Yeah.
Knight c6, queen f4 maybe unpleasant.
Yes.
Or even bishop c2 and queen d. But queen f4 is most natural. And looks dangerous for him.
Yes.
Or if he goes knight with the other knight, probably d5.
Okay.
And then take. The idea simply queen b4, there's knight d3.
Right.
But maybe it doesn't work. Queen d4, takes, f5. Takes, f5.
There's a pile up on the e file after you recapture something on e1.
Unfortunately for me.
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't even have to play d5. Maybe I can just go. What was I thinking? Maybe take first, and then d5 next move.
This is more annoying. And here I have to take with the bishop, don't I? I don't like it so as much as I did a moment
because
ago.
I can take maybe.
Yeah.
And cd6, d5 should be winning a piece.
Yeah. And a queen takes d6.
Queen e8.
And queen f8.
Bishop
f7. Oh, show that to our our.
And here,
I think we've all fallen for such things, such lines. Nice.
And with king h7, white of course makes a repetition. Yeah.
Yes, claiming the draw with both hands.
Just making sure that he has a draw.
Exactly.
But I wasn't sure. Maybe he has some options like d5, but maybe white is better. Knight d5, takes. I'm not sure. I was thinking some move like knight c6, with the idea simply that here black can try to claim compensation because the bishop on c1 has no good squares. Or for example, I didn't like white's position in this case, knight e6, and then rook d8. For example, here, knight e7, and it seemed to me black has decent compensation. No, white has no entry. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna play knight c5, or maybe here I don't have to take on d5 and just play bishop c2 and continue my attack. And then if he goes here, queen d3, knight f8, this pawn seems to be hanging.
That pawn you're happier to capture, yeah?
Huh?
You're happier about the b5 pawn than the d5 pawn. The d5 pawn, it opens up his bishop on a8, right?
Or maybe some, what was it? Some ideas like knight h4, knight f5. Maybe, but or although this is worse for black if he takes this and d5 because rook g4 and the rook is very annoying, and then he goes rook e6, and then here maybe I thought knight h4 with the idea simply continue f4 f5, and I thought white is better.
Yes. Well, you have space, the two bishops, and you're the one on the attack. Yeah, it's very nice for you.
So you think you like queen d2?
At first it was like, what is Wesley doing? And you had a good thing too.
The knight.
But it turned out to be very good for the position. It worked out very nicely, in fact.
Because he took, which is I gained tempo.
Yeah.
Here, if we go queen c8, I have two choices. I can either play queen e2, or I can play queen f4, attacking the f7 pawn. But
that
maybe
looks more direct.
I was going queen e2, which actually sets up a trap.
Okay, show us the trap.
Begin turning this.
Right.
And what was the trap? I'm simply turning knight f7 too. So here I think I'm turning bishop h6. Or for example, if he makes some because knight d5 fails to loses a pawn to queen b5.
Clear.
What was the trap here? Take.
So can he play knight c6, for example? I'll fall for the trap. That knight, yeah.
Yeah, I think here is the trap. So white takes on f7, gives the check, and then queen e8. And the point being, very nice. Here I'm turning his bishop on a8, and if he goes to this, bishop h6.
Double pin.
Double pin. Yeah,
oh.
Because actually, if white doesn't have bishop h6, he isn't better. But here it simply wins.
Wow, that's a nice one.
And if knight d4, I just take and rook a8.
Right.
He has knight e2.
Did you have to play knight d4?
Take knight d4.
Knight takes d4. Yeah, pardon me. Very good move. Sorry.
Bishop h6, knight b3. But they should be winning for white. Let's say here. Check. King takes h6.
You don't like the 3 connected pass pawns?
But where does the rook go?
That's the problem. I have to go to a6.
A6 and a7. Very nice. And we win this
Just
pawn.
in time before he gets counterplay.
But at the same time, this pawn should be very fast, yeah.
Exactly. Well, 3 connected pass pawns, yeah.
But this knight is annoying. Anyway.
True. But it's a very nice line trap. So at the moment, because I didn't really didn't sense it. My spidey sense wasn't tingling at this point. When he played Queen F5,
Knight c5. But
I thought you're better. I preferred your position, but it suddenly was lost.
But actually, like, if we think here, I thought he will. I have 3 options. I can go knight c5 or knight g3.
Okay.
Or g4. But g4, I'm not sure. He goes back to c8, and maybe I'm weakening my position too much. Actually, here after knight c5, he simply blundered with bishop d5. The only move was king h7, and then the fight continues. I'm not sure how better white is, but king h7 was black's only move, and I didn't see a concrete way for white to continue.
Okay, that's a relief because it was just sort of like
it's the only move, I think.
Right.
Because if he goes knight c6, it loses to knight f7, and rook e1, queen e1, and this is simple enough. Check, and bishop takes. So that was my main threat. King h7. Yeah, so I thought king h7 was the only move.
Okay, and now you want to play bishop b1, but your bishop is kind of dominated at the moment.
Well, king h7, yeah, and I think any other move would lose because rook e5 loses a piece after rook e5, queen e5 check, and takes because I have this queen e4.
Yeah, we saw this queen e4 check in a number of variations where you're
you think you just take this knight.
Exactly.
Or even more brutal maybe.
Right.
Anyway,
all right.
king h7 was... I'm not sure
only move.
Why he missed king h7. I actually wasn't sure what to play because if I go like f4, hoping his knight will move, then I have bishop c2. He uses the other knight.
Right.
And bishop f7 doesn't work due to rook e5. Queen f7. If e6, queen e7, and he wants to take this pawn. So I don't know, king h7, and I'm not sure what white should do.
Well, it feels like the position is nice for you, but maybe there's just no definitive win.
Let's say something like this, knight c6. Maybe it's kind of unclear. But anyway, I'm happy that he didn't play king h7, and so after this he just loses a piece and all my problems are solved.
True.
And so here he just loses a piece because rook e5, the same motive, rook d5 check.
Right, this is the line where we saw where we pick up the rook on on d5 with queen e4 check.
Yeah.
So it was important for him to put his king on h7 before you forced it to go to h7. He should put it there voluntarily.
Yeah, because king h7.
And sidestepping a lot of the trapping lines that you just showed.
But king h7, the game would be unclear.
Well, Wesley, this is, first of all, again, fantastic success. You're a +4. At the moment, you're trailing Magnus by half a point, 2 games left, everything to play for.
Well, half a point if he drew this game, yeah?
If he draws the game. When we left it...
Which looks like drawish, anyway.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you think white has any chance?
Well, yeah.
Maybe, some...
I always think those positions where you're pawn up, your chances are better than when you're pawn down.
Actually, on my next 2 rounds, I'll be playing the Dutch guys.
Really? Luc Van Velde,
Anish Giri first, and then like Van Velde.
Very cool. Have you played Anish?
I played him several times.
And how's your record?
I played him here last year.
Of course.
And I played him first on 2009, which was also here, but on the C group.
In the C
In
group.
the Z group. We were still
My, how far you've come.
we were still babies back then, yeah.
Bunnies.
But that was 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
And so yeah, tomorrow will be tough, so just have to still 2 more games.
Right.
Anything can happen, and I'm playing the fan favorite, of course, because
Yes, of course. Of
they're
course.
playing the Dutch national team.
I see on the little thing there. Are you the only unbeaten? Well, you haven't lost a game, so you must be then. You're the only unbeaten player in the tournament.
I think so, yeah.
Bravo, bravo. Another thing to be proud of. In the good old days of yore, the idea was it wasn't just enough to win a tournament. Winning the tournament was nice, but it was much more important to go undefeated to win the tournament.
Why is it more important?
Because then it was sort of like you gave this a feeling of untouchable that the players never had a chance.
But
to beat you.
what would you prefer? A win and a loss, or 2 draws?
Me, I like winning the loss.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't. If you gave Ulf Andersson the choice of 2 wins and a loss or 3 draws, he'd take the 3 draws. The losses affected him very badly.
Of course, avoiding any losses is a strategy.
Yes,
it's a good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you also have to win games. I remember, what was it? I think I've been here several times, and I think one of my tournaments I started with 5 draws, which was not very
solid,
but not very exciting. And also,
right.
Magnus, I think a few years back, he started with, not sure, like 10 draws out of 11 or something. Yeah, but kind of, it's more exciting. The exciting games are always more exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
Wesley, thank you very much for joining us again. I really appreciate it, and continued success. It's all good. We're cheering for you, and even though the Dutch fans will be cheering against you, you'll have some fans as well cheering for you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, my friend. Have a good day. So that was Wesley So, the tournament leader's only undefeated player, by the way, joining us to explain